On the edge of the bed, drained. You call it advantages, I call losses and pain. Got loved ones, guess what? You need a plan. Don't worry, I got a man, and he be dropping them gems. Who, them? We, them. Now listen up while he talk to him. Listen, I'm your host. My name is James Levesque. And once again, we're here on this beautiful Sunday, May 16th. I believe it's May 16th. And once again, this is God's work. All right. We here bringing you the gospel on the first and the third Sunday of every month. Right here on Talk to Him on 102.9 FM. Or if you're listening online, you can go to bostonpraiseradio.tv. Folks, we got some special guests in the house tonight. Okay. In the studio today, we got some very special guests. So if you're listening and you want to tune in, make sure you call in at 617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. Like I said, folks, we got some very special guests in the studio with us today. Let me introduce. We have Dr.Brandy Brooks. She has worked in the public health for more than 15 years. She is an assistant director of adult education and adjunct history and social science professor at the Bunker Hill Community College. Brandi received her doctoral degree in education from UMass Lowell. Wow. And she is running for city councilor for District 7. All right. And what is District 7? That's like what?
That's the Bury. Roxbury.
Roxbury, okay. Roxbury. So if you live in Roxbury, you definitely want to tune in because she is the one who's going to be representing Roxbury. Also, we got the big dog in the house tonight. Big dog. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest in the studio with us today. He's an educator, an Army veteran. He's also a heavyweight boxer that has fought at the elite level, and now he has put his name in the ballot to run for Boston City Councilor at large. We have Mr. Donnie Palmer. DP, how you doing, brother?
How you doing? Thank you for having me on the show today.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. No doubt. Thank you for pulling up, man. Thank you for pulling up. I see you pulled up on a hog today.
Oh, yeah, man. I ride that iron every day. That's how I've been collecting signatures. Harley needs to give me an endorsement.
Yeah.
Give me a sponsorship. They've really got me through on that. On this campaign stage with the signatures, you know.
Yeah, you going in out there.
Grind out there.
Absolutely.
You know? I could pull up, park that thing, and just knock door to door real quick. Back on it.
And then be out.
Be out.
Yeah, you know what's so crazy, right? Since you're a bike rider, you know what I mean? Like, what does it do for you? Like, what does it do for you when you're out there and you're on the Harley? I've never felt that before. What is it? How does it feel like?
It gives me a peace, man.
Really?
It's a peace of mind, you know. I got that bike basically to help me with my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
A lot of people do, a lot of veterans do that, you know?
So, and I only ask this because there's been like issues in the news about, you know, our young people in the, you know, that's, you know, riding their ATVs, having some fun in the bikes, and there's been a lot of negativity towards that. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
Hey, that question was actually in the panel too.
Yeah.
City Council. A lot of them are against it. But my thoughts on that?
Yeah.
I think we need to. When I get elected, I'm definitely going to push for a safe space for these kids to ride.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with proper training.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get the proper training. You know, give them their permits, permit courses. You know, safety riding courses. You know, in this facility. You know, that's what we need to do.
Yeah, Brandi, what's your thoughts on that?
I second it. I mean, because the young people, they want to ride their bikes.
Right, they need a way to express themselves.
They want to ride their ATVs,
right.
And there needs to be a safe space for them to do it in, where they're not disrupting a community event or messing up the turf or any of that. But there needs to be classes, instruction, and a safe space for them.
You're absolutely correct because I in the Braintree, the Milton, the other cities, the kids be riding their bikes, and I don't really hear nothing. It's only like in Boston, there's always like some type of issue.
Yeah, and this has been like decades.
Right.
Like it's not something that's brand new. Like people riding their bikes and riding their ATVs.
Right.
And so, but what's new, I think, is people actually starting the conversation around, well, is there a space where they can do it?
I agree. What was you gonna say, D?
Oh no, she said it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you guys this, right? Because I'm not a big political person. I follow it here and there, you know what I mean? And I'm just now really educating myself on the whole aspect of it, and, you know, and doing a little bit of research on what each candidate is. You know, DP, I know you personally, so I know what it is that you stand for. And so I always want to know, right? Why do you feel like the time is now to put your name in the ballot to become, you're running for city councilor, right? So I'll ask you first. Why do you think the time is now for you to put your name, Dr. Brandy Brooks, who's, you know, accomplished, done amazing things? Like, why is it now for you?
Yeah, so I've always been a person, it's wonderful that I have accolades and all of that, ooh, doctor, but I was always taught that when you know better, you do better. That's Maya Angelou. And, you know, even Malcolm X said education is the passport to the future. But one of the things is that it's not enough for me to be educated. I want my community to have the same opportunities that I've had.
Absolutely.
And so that's important to me, is that in order to reach one, you got to teach one.
Yeah.
And so for me running right now, I feel it's a precipice in terms of for our community, where we've been and where we're going. And it's important that we have leadership around the table that reflects the community and that speaks up for the community and doesn't just go to shake hands and do photo ops, but represents and gets it done. And for me at this moment, I looked and I said, you know, I'm tired of talking about it and being in these Zoom calls and being frustrated. You know what? Put your hat in the race.
Absolutely.
And do that for you, not just for me and, you know, a position, but for the community.
Absolutely.
That's what's important.
I like that. DP, right? DP, I've known you for a little while now. And why now for you, bro? You know, you're an educator, Army veteran, you know what I mean? You've been in the ring, a boxer, and like, why now for you, bro? Why now? Why is this time right now for DP, Donnie Palmer, to put his name in the race to become Boston City Councilor at large?
Jay, you know me since I was a child.
Right.
I was a kid. Well, you know, there's no one remotely anywhere like me in this group of candidates. It was like 19, 20 of us. No one remotely like me at all. I feel like all the politicians on this ballot, their platforms are kind of divisive, you know, and most of the politicians in the city, in the country, are pretty divisive. You know, for example, there was no one was a bigger police hater, cop hater than me.
Right.
When I was coming, you already know.
Right. We hated the cops. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I got locked up when I was a kid.
Right.
They said I was a menace to society. Remember, they didn't let me out. Mom went to court. They was like, "D coming out." Did not let me out.
Right.
You're a menace to society. Hated the police.
Right.
And now I'm the biggest advocate for the police. It's crazy, right? Like, so why is that? Because they were good cops here in Boston.
Yep.
You know, I'm not going to name drop, but I will name drop in the future.
Right.
Good cops that was like, yo, listen, kid, you can hoop, man.
Right.
Officer Grubbs.
I remember Officer Grubbs. Yeah, absolutely. Officer Grubbs. Yeah, was the man. You know.
You're like, hey, come on, man.
Come to the crib and everything. You know. Yep.
6'9", bro. You can play ball. Like, go to college. You don't have to. Just go play ball.
Right.
Do something. Get out of the neighborhood. Like, come back and teach the kids.
Right.
Show them that they can leave too.
Yeah.
You know, and I had other cops. They sent me to a boxing program.
Yeah.
You know, I had judges that helped me out, you know.
So let me ask you this, DP, right? Let me ask you this. Because you mentioned about the police, right? Because recently there has been an overwhelming, like, you know, police brutality. And, you know, they showing that police is, like, shooting us, you know what I mean? Black males, you know what I mean? In general. So, you know, and this is happening all across the country, not really in Boston, but what's your thoughts on defunding the police?
I'm not for defunding the police at all.
Right.
I mean, you know, you defund the police in Roxbury, it's going to be how it was in 1990. I'm from the D4 district.
Right.
And that's in her district.
Right.
You know, D4 was always the Wild West. 1850, Lenox, you had Ruggles over there.
It was crazy over there.
Yeah, Villa, you know, Cathedral.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we need the cops. You don't want to defund the police.
No,
You know,
I agree.
Not in the black neighborhoods.
For real. What do you?
Not-
Go ahead.
Not in the black neighborhoods.
Right.
Maybe in Brookline,
Right.
Wellesley, they don't need them. They can use that money and put it somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, give it to us.
But in the hood, we need it. We need the cops.
Yeah, we need the cops.
Cause I be thinking like, listen, something happens to me. Who am I gonna call? You know what I'm saying? Like, who am I gonna call?
You gonna have to call them angels on what are those activists? What are they called?
So, Dr. Brooks, what's your thoughts on defunding the police?
I think people are using the wrong terminology
Mm-hmm.
because frameworks matter. And when people hear defund the police, they think, "Oh my goodness, there's not going to be any cops." When my car breaks down, or I have a domestic violence situation, or I get caught up in something and I need the police, I won't be able to call them. That's not what defund the police is. It's really mostly about refunding social services, refunding our education system, refunding other areas that need the same support. Just like every year, the city councilors and the state, you have to look at the budget. And so are there programs and ways that money is being spent ineffectively and inefficiently in police departments, in education system, everywhere? And so it's really just about reallocating the funds where it's most needed right now. That's it.
DP, you were saying something?
So yeah, reallocation of funds. I love it. Damn,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's on point. Yeah, absolutely. Dr.
It's because I was reading from all our X-ray vision all the way over here.
Nah, absolutely. So where would those funds go?
Oh, look.
Go ahead.
Look. If when I'm elected, Boston police funds are going nowhere. We're not touching their money, their endowment, their funds stay there. They're all right. They've been through a lot. Let's go next. Where these funds are going to come from? DCF. Let's shine some light on the DCF. They've been breaking up Boston homes, black homes, minority homes, poor white families. They've been breaking up families since they've been around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not for the family.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's reallocate their funds.
Yeah.
That's what I want to shine light on when I'm elected. The DCF.
Once again, folks, you're listening to Talk to Him Radio. I'm your host. My name is James Levesque, and I'm here with Donnie Palmer, who is running for Boston City Councilor at large, and I'm here with Dr. Brooks, Dr. Brandy Brooks, who is running for City Councilor for District 7. All right. If you have any questions, comments, or you want to just join the conversation, I see some folks who are online. 617-282-0685. 617-282-0685. Let me ask you this, right? As somebody or just a regular person who doesn't really have an idea what politics is, not want to say politics, but what's your position, what you're running for, and what it is that you're running for, right? What is the duties of a city councilor, District 7, but then also of a city councilor at large? What's like their duties?
Well, so I always say to anyone, all politics is local. And so the things that impact you on a day-to-day basis are decided at the city level with regards to your school system, right? Even something as benign, how many days, how many snow days, what are the things that the school board does? Testing, MCAS testing, exam schools.
What?
Yeah.
They run that?
They don't run it.
But they have something to do with
make
it.
decisions and ordinances around it.
Wow.
Right? When we're talking about housing developments and how much do they allocate for income restricted versus not, those are conversations that happen at the city level. When we're talking about housing and homelessness and mental health services and how much, literally, what does the budget look like and who gets what pot? That's at the city level.
Wow.
And so, and I'm sure Donnie can speak to this, when you're knocking on doors and people like, I don't know about this politics and local.
Right.
You be like,
people are afraid of it.
You be like, you understand that literally just the bus routes, those are decisions that are talked about at the city level.
Right.
Trash pickup and cleanup. And so all politics is local, and city matters so much more than people, I think, even can imagine.
Great point. So you're running at large. So what does that mean when you're running at large? What is that?
At large means it's all of Boston.
Okay.
Boston whole.
Okay.
Yeah. And whereas I'm just going to represent, to the best of my ability, if elected, District 7.
Okay.
But I would work with the at-large,
Yeah.
again, because it's all Boston.
Absolutely.
We're all part of Boston and making Boston better.
Yeah.
And so you need everyone at the table when you're talking about certain issues.
Yo, I was ear hustling while you guys was out there in the lobby before, right? And I overheard you guys talking about a park in Roxbury, right? And that is getting ready to not be there anymore.
No, it's
or
going to be
it's
there.
going to be there.
It's gonna be
Okay,
there.
so what are they doing towards the park?
So it's Malcolm X Park.
Malcolm X Park, folks. Okay, the world famous Malcolm X Park. What are they finna do with Malcolm X Park?
There've been some funds allocated to redesign, redevelop, give a facelift to Malcolm X Park. There have been several meetings over the last year, 2 years, really kind of literally looking at development plans. So do you want a dog park out there? Do you want a soccer field? Like literally looking at the plans. And so now we're at the phase where they're going to begin construction and really kind of uprooting the park a little bit. But what we were talking about is just like some of those meetings and how is the community informed about those meetings, and how do we make sure the community voice comes through whatever happens, because the park is for the community,
right.
But if the changes don't reflect the community,
right.
Is it really for the community?
Yo, let me ask you this, right? Because those sound like those are good things, right?
Yeah.
But you gotta look at the demographics of people that's coming into Roxbury, Dorchester.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if people can really afford these rent. You know what I mean? Like, or can afford these properties because they're so high right now. You know what I mean? Like, what does like the city councilor, do they have anything to do with that as well too?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're elected, right? What's like a plan that you may have to like kind of like help the little people be able to get in some of these beautiful houses that's going up? You know what I'm saying? Like what Like what are your plans?
Well, all right. One of the things on my platform that I've been working with my team, in cabinet, over in the lab, is basically upping the percentage of low income, units in all these new buildings that are coming, these new developments. Right now it's only 10%, so these developers are only allowing 10% of their units.
Right.
These are like 200-300 plus unit developments.
Right.
Only 10% of them, so only 10 units out of 100 are for low income people in the city of Boston.
Wow.
So my whole plan is to work with HUD, BHA, the VA.
What's HUD? Yo, come on, bro.
HUD?
I'm gonna gotta dumb it down a little bit. What's HUD? It's HUD. What does that mean?
Man, that's Housing Urban Development.
Housing Urban Development.
Yes.
Okay, VA is what?
That's Veteran Affairs.
Veteran Affairs, and then what was that? BHA.
Boston Housing Authority.
Okay, all right. Yep. So you guys are gonna be working together.
Yes. Yeah, we have working together with them to pretty much up that percentage from 10% to at least what the homeless rate is 30%. 30% of the kids in Boston public schools are homeless.
Right.
Seriously, kids actually are homeless. So the rate of equity in these developments should at least be 30%.
At least.
Yeah. He would say at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You was gonna say something, Brandy?
I mean, I agree with the fact that we have got to up the income restricted property. That's absolutely. At the same time as we up the income restriction, we also have to up the access and opportunity for owner and owner occupied. Like, at least in D7, the majority of individuals that live there are renters.
Right.
And they don't have the opportunity to the access to be a homeowner. So while we're upping the percentages, like Donnie says, we also have to make sure that we up the amount of classes that are offered and the loans that are given to families as well, and then the housing stock.
Basketball.
That's all right. That's all right.
So I definitely agree with you on that, because growing up, we didn't really think about owning nothing.
Yeah, but that's part of financial literacy.
That is true.
That's not happening in schools either. Is that we're not teaching people about generational wealth.
Right.
But we can read articles in the Boston Globe when they did the spotlight that black families in Boston have $8 in terms of wealth. Compared to a white family of 4 has $247,000.
Wow.
And so when you look at that, there is a disconnect in terms of education. And this is why I went back, you know, when you know better, you do better, and education being the passport to the future. Yet if you aren't taught, you don't know, and if you don't know, you don't access. And that's bottom line.
That was a bar right there. Talk to him, Dr. Brandy Brooks. Okay.
Right? Hold on. Since it's Sunday, I feel like we can pass a collection for the building fund, you know, or when Donnie and I get there for, you know. So I'm just saying. You got
pasta right here too.
If y'all listening.
No, I'm sorry, D. You was gonna add on towards that. What was you gonna say?
Man, I lost it. With the
No, so let me ask you guys this, right? Because you know, I feel like right now, like there's a lot of like division that's happening. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of division. You know what I mean? And I know DP, and you have always been like a people person, right? You know, your friends consist of, listen, I remember this. I went to one of your boxing matches, right? And I was in your support group. In the support group, you had black people, white people, you had Spanish, Asians. And I was looking around, I was like, yo, this is like a big, like starburst happening right here. Everybody's just supporting Dorchester Donnie. You know what I'm saying? Just supporting you. And my thing is this, right? Once you get into office, like, how are you going to unite? You know what I mean? Like, bring some type of unity, you know?
Well, that's, I'm an athlete, you know? I'm a basketball player, I'm a fighter.
Yep.
You know, I fly across the country to hop in the ring and knock somebody's head off.
Yeah.
When the end of the round is over, we hugging each other like we're brothers.
Right,
you know?
right,
That's
right.
Unity. Like, you know, unity is just all about.
But that's also your personality
also.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's empathy also. I mean, if you don't have much empathy, you really can't have much unity in your heart.
Absolutely,
right? You know,
yeah.
You gotta understand people's walks of life, like their mishaps. You know, where they been, where they from. You know, you just have to accept people. Right now, we're divided because there's no acceptance.
Right.
Right now.
Right.
And especially like in the school systems.
Speaking closer to the mic.
I'm sorry, especially in the school systems, like, you know, we're dividing our kids right now. You know, we're telling our kids not to be cops. Well, I tell my kids to be cops.
Right.
Hey, be a soldier. They're like, hey, you were a soldier. You were in the army, man. You know. I'm like, yeah.
Right.
You know, you can do it too. You know.
Yeah.
But Miss So and So says cops are not for black kids. You know? I'm like, that's not. You know, that's not the rhetoric that we want to teach our black kids. I tell my kids, you want to change the system, become the cop.
Right. And you know what's so crazy too, because that's not something that's like promoted. You know what I mean? Like, kids like getting into like, you know, becoming like politicians or getting to like politics, understanding how politics. It's not something that's like made cool. No. You know what I mean? And that's funny that you said that. Become a cop, because you could be like one of the good cops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could be fighting it.
Right,
you know, I agree with that. 110%. Yeah. You know, what about you, Dr. Brandy?
I mean, Brooks? I would echo what Donnie said is, you know, at the end of the day, we're all human. We all want the same things. Where we differ is how to go about it. But we all want good education. We all want housing. We all want basic fundamental rights, right? We all want that. It's just how do we go about it? And so, you know, what I do is the same thing what Donnie does is you start with humanity. You start with empathy. You start with trying to understand where someone else is coming from.
Right.
And understanding that not everyone thinks like you and walks like you and talks like you and has the same walk that you did.
It would be so boring if it was.
It'd be boring. And so, but what we need to do is we have to come together. It's not even a matter of can we. We have to. Because a house divided cannot stand. And right now, where the city needs to go, we have to come together.
Absolutely. I agree 110%. Right now, we're going into some of our sponsors. Sponsors, we have T2EM, Talk to 'em Apparel, and their Instagram handle is at shop talk to 'em. You know, they keep me laced up, you know. Also we got Green to Clean LTD, That's their Instagram handle, Green Cleaning Services. That's Green to Clean Cleaning Services. And their Instagram handle is at Green to Clean LTD. Also, we have Community Capital Gains at CC Gains 2. All right, that is their Instagram handle, and they assist people in getting all their business stuff together. All right, and then last but not least, we have Eats with Irie. All right, and that's Eats EATS with Irie. RRIE. Okay, RRIE. So shout out to all of our sponsors. Let me ask you guys this, right? You know, both of you guys are educated. All right, you know, you're an educator. You know, you've taught school as well too. As an educator, you're in the trenches, right? You know, I was in education as well too. I was in them trenches with those kids. You know what I'm saying? For real, we was in those trenches, right? Now, like, how do y'all feel about MCAS testing? You know what I mean? Do you guys think there should be like some type of...
Yeah, we had a long conversation about this earlier.
Because I only say this. I only say this,
Yeah.
right?
Wrapped up the convo about the MCAS.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I feel like, yo, MCAS testing, right? Number one, as the teacher, right?
It's not needed.
You might have like a lesson plan that you're excited about, you know what I mean, and you want to connect with it towards the kids. But then it's like, yo, administration, their job is they're really pushing, like, you know, we got to get them them MCAS scores up. You know what I'm saying? So now you're putting like a bind. You know what I mean? You're putting like a bind almost. Like, how can I teach what it is that the kids need to learn? But then also I got to get them to pass this exam because I want to keep my job. You know what I'm saying? I want to keep my job.
You want the kids to get their diploma.
Absolutely. You want to get
in this state too.
Yeah.
Well, Jay, let me correct you.
Yeah.
You talking about that feeling anxiety and pressure for kids to pass the exam. Remind you, the MCAS isn't a test where they care about if the kids pass and fail. You know what I'm saying? And the kid can't pass or fail at MCAS. Okay?
Really?
Yeah, they can't pass or fail at MCAS. It's a test to see, you know, check their standards, see where they fall, you know, on the chart. Okay? So there's no pass or fail in that test. That test is basically out there. The district is all up in arms to get that test because that's how they get their money. That's how they eat. You know, they got to push this test out to the kids like drugs to get that money. You know what I'm saying? Each time a kid takes a test, okay, they got a receipt for that kid. Oh, that's that money. That kid took the test. That's the money.
Get out of here, really?
See, this is where we got into. We wasn't heated, but we went back and forth because what I said to what I was saying to Donnie is, okay, well, it's also, again, that is the metric used right now. If you want to graduate, you better have some MCAS on your record, right? And then on the other hand, you know, I'm at higher ed, then what's the measure that we look for with respect to, is this student ready for higher ed? You look at grades or portfolio or grades and a test score. Whether that be the, college placement test, SAT, ACT, that's what we're using to measure our students ready. Now, we can definitely have the conversation about, are there opportunity and education gaps, which there absolutely are in our communities. But I think if we just say all together, squash this or squash that, that doesn't solve the problem. And it doesn't get at how can we make our schools better. They're looking at a symptom but not the problem. And so for me, when you ask me about MCAS testing, is it fair? Most tests aren't fair.
Right.
Like SAT, ACT, I mean, any tests aren't, because it's about the access. Because if you don't have the opportunity to study, your teachers don't put in those hours. There's a lot of different things. It's not just one thing with MCAS testing. But I do agree with Donnie that we have to look at we have to look at MCAS testing, especially this year since they suspended it and it's optional.
Oh, that's a whole nother fight.
And it's a whole nother argument and issue. But we do have to look at MCAS testing, and is it the fair, responsible, equitable thing for our kids and our staff going forward?
Right. Go ahead, D.
All right. See, she be killing the game, right? She be killing the game. Yo, so honestly, like, we'll talk outside about the MCAS stuff. I'm in the BPS, and so everything takes 5 years to go in place, right? So
Right.
like we're talking about the new system that they got for standards, testing kids in standards.
Yep.
You know, it's gonna come in place in 5 years. And so, what are we gonna do when testing kids until that standard's in place until 2026? Hey, listen, I'm real. I'm a straight shooter. I'm a shooter from the hip. I want to say this one for you, girl, because you just said SATs and ACT.
Right.
Those. That's how you get into college.
Mm.
If you can't pass those tests, those colleges don't want you.
Mm.
Those are the standards right there for kids. Give them a break. We already got SAT and ACTs. That's good enough.
Yeah.
If it's good enough for a college, why is that not good enough for any state?
Mm.
Why don't you just score over a? What do you need to? What we needed? What a 700 to play Division I basketball.
Right.
If you score a 700 on an SAT,
You good.
College,
Yeah,
you
but
get your
that's
diploma.
but SAT is English and math,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's all we really need.
Come on, no,
GED
we want
is what?
we
GED is-
we want no. The high set tests you on 5
The
metrics.
GED?
The high set it's
Is
now
it-
high set,
is
but
it-
it
is
tests
that
you
harder? Is that
it
harder?
tests you on 5 metrics. It's
Yeah.
reading, it's writing, it's math, it's science, and it's social
that
studies.
harder than
So
SAT?
no, but I'm just saying is like you want as hopefully as a society,
Right.
we want kids that are civically engaged
Right.
as well as community.
Right.
We want young people that understand their reading, writing, and arithmetic.
So-
you want
Can we not give them the
you
GED?
want kids that are well rounded, because at the end of the day, you want them to go vocational,
Right.
and you want them to go academic.
So-
you don't not one size fits all, but you
Boom.
need to have something.
More vocational schools.
But you
Right.
need to have something though that lets you know at least the baseline.
Right.
We're not talking about up here, but what's the baseline?
Right.
And that's all. Is the MCAS is the baseline.
So should there be like an alternate though?
Oh, I mean, again, I think when you're talking about testing and when you're talking about what's best for students,
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to really look at all options.
Demographics.
And
Mm-hmm.
and you also need to look at what works for the community.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it is short-sighted to say, well, we're going to do this or we're going to do that. Again, you need to make sure everybody is on accord with this. The
Right.
parents,
Mm-hmm.
the faculty, the administrators, the higher ed, everybody needs to weigh in
Right.
and make sure that everybody's on the same page. Because you change the test, but then the college be like, what's this?
Right. Right.
like what is this?
Right. So my thing is this, right? Every child does not learn the same. You know what I mean? Like I know some students who, they can't sit there and for like an hour, 45, whatever that time is, and then you're as the teacher, you're teaching something that most of the time you're not really interested in. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even going to come across that you're excited about this. So my thing is when I say an alternative, I heard vocational, right? I heard vocational. So you got to think, there's only one vocational school in Massachusetts. Let's say in Boston, and that's what, Madison Park, right?
Right.
They doing some amazing things over there. But do you think there should be more vocational schools or more vocational programs? Because do you think there should be?
Yeah, everybody's not a plasterer. Some people
Right.
want to be a carpenter. Plastering's grueling and hard.
And that's why I agree with you when I say I agree with you, but then I also agree with you in what it is that you're saying. Like we need to have like a base, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
just a baseline.
like a baseline where it's like okay, if you're somebody who was able to you've attended class and because sometimes students have IEPs, you know what I mean? Students have IEPs and they're not able to, for whatever reason, they're not able to pay attention or whatever it is. Because sometimes there's problems that's going on at home that, they're just not able to just, that's the least of their worries. You know what I'm saying? That's the least of their worries. So now my thing is, okay, a student like that, like, are we going to judge them? Are we going to not judge them, but are we going to grade them off the same basis of than a student who's has a pretty good decent home life, you know what I mean, is consistently coming to school, is doing their thing? Like what's the alternative? That's what I'm saying.
I mean you can't put a one size fits all on any student,
Right.
And we all know that young people have traumas just like adults do.
Right.
Young people go through things just like adults do, and no one learns the same and develops the same. We understand that, we know that. I think one of the things with vocational schools is, yes, we do need more access and funding and more opportunity to vocational schools, because not everyone is destined to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a writer, or a teacher.
Right.
We need plumbers.
We need
you
plumbers,
need
for real.
electricians. You
We
need welders.
Absolutely.
You need that. But even still, to get into those schools, yes, it's more hands-on, but you still have to have a baseline
Right.
to be, you still, like, I need my electrician to know the difference between,
Absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want no situations
Right.
when you putting together my wires.
Yeah.
So you still have to have a baseline, but absolutely, not everyone is, geared towards being in school for 12, 14, 13 years
Yeah.
before they start their career. So you need other options and opportunities for all.
Yo, so is there like a plan for like more vocational schools to open up in the city of Boston?
As of right now, no.
Mm,
But when me and her get in the office,
absolutely.
that's something that we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I'm about working with anybody who's
Right.
about young people and
Right.
right now
uplifting.
I'm working with a few locals. My local's 534. That's the Plasterers Union.
Right.
When I get on a ballot, I'm looking for endorsements from my union. I'm looking for endorsements from other unions.
Mhm.
I'm looking for endorsements from ASNY, which is automotive.
Mm-hmm.
They give automotive, tech licenses.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually want to open that shop back up in Madison Park.
Right.
Other schools.
Right. Right. They need that, bro.
Yeah.
They need that. They had
Auto
auto mechanic,
mechanics is-
hair, all these different things that's happening. There's some cooking classes as well too in Madison. Yo, Madison's Park's a pretty
Yeah.
it's a pretty fly school.
And you know what mechanic that's really needed now in the city?
What?
Motorcycle, bike mechanics.
Mm.
All of the increase in motorcycles, increase of dirt bikes. This is what we can get these kids to be doing. Open up little bike shops, getting certificates to fix these bikes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because that's income,
Right.
right? And that's teaching them how to do what they love and make money doing what they love, like
Right.
I did with boxing.
Yeah.
Everything I ever done.
Yeah.
I've never really worked a job that I didn't love.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And to me, that's rich. That's balling.
Right.
'Cause you
That's
do
successful.
what you love. You're
Yeah.
success,
That's
And
successful.
that's why I want to teach these kids in Boston to do what they love and make money doing what you love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be a millionaire for everything, but pay your bills.
I agree. You was gonna say something?
Oh no, I was just saying, I was nodding over here. Like, okay, all right.
No, so you know what it is. Like you mentioned something about boxing, right? Like, do you think like in today's youth, right? Because you're a big advocate for today's youth. Like, how did boxing help you, like, get on the right track? Because I remember that for a little while, you was a wild boy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did like boxing get you like on that track, and what did it do for you personally?
It was a choice doing like 30 years from a judge who was like, yo, listen, because I took my judge and I waived my jury.
Mm.
On my kids, like, my jury's gonna fry me. I'm ready to take my chance and talking it out to the judge.
Mm-hmm.
And the judge's like, hey, man, you have a great boxing career. You're a great athlete. Like,
Right.
listen, how about you just goes against the system, right? How about, we do away with this case and you just go to the Army.
Mm.
We used to do that a long time ago. People just go to the Army and you can box in the Army.
Really?
And so that's what I did. I took his advice. I went to the Army, and boxing just gave me discipline.
Right.
It gave me structure. It gave me resilience.
Right. And that's what these kids is
Like,
missing, bro. These kids be quitting. It's like they quitting. They get into something a little bit difficult. Oh, I quit. I don't want to do this no more.
So,
I quit. I don't want to do this no more. It's like all these kids is quitting.
yeah.
You
I
know?
don't know if they're quitting or if it's just they don't see the same opportunities. I don't think it's all on the young people. They may not see the opportunities in front of them,
Mhm.
or they may have so many traumas that they can't see past the traumas to think there is a way out, like Donnie had, And so I don't want to put it all to being like young people just giving up. It just may be that their vantage point is here. They have the blinders on, so they can't see. And nobody, like the judge did for Donnie, is saying those things to them.
No.
I mean, again, for some youth.
Our kids are so, I feel like this, and it also goes down to school participation. This is why our schools are failing, okay? Because our parents rather wait till the report card come home. And this is all minority or black parents, right? I'm talking to y'all out here, because I'm in the school system. I'm in the schools. I do open houses.
Yeah.
I'm there from 9 in the morning to 8 at night for nobody to come up to my open house.
Right. There's no care. No parents do not pull up to open house for whatever reason.
I don't know why y'all looking up. Hold on. Y'all is not gonna be jumping up on me.
We need. So what I'm gonna fight for,
right?
What me and Brandi are pushing for,
right?
When we are elected.
Yeah. Hold on, let me hear what you say first before you put my name on.
More school participation.
Well, here's the thing.
For events for schools,
but here's the thing.
Come through.
But Donnie, here's the thing too is I think you are maybe forgetting that there may be single family households that have 1, 2, and 3 jobs, and so they can't get to the school. So because you and I talked about that out there, is that sometimes they don't have the opportunity for the access because they don't have. It's not that they don't care about their young people. Most parents are engaged and care what happens to their young person. It's just they don't have the same time. They don't have the same opportunity. They have to work,
right?
Or and like they can't go to the meetings to do this or do that. It's not that they're trying to not be there for their child. They just can't.
Is the schools like too far or something like that?
And it's transportation. Can they literally get there via transportation?
Right.
Or what time? Like you think about it, when they have in-school meetings, it's normally during business hours. What are you doing during business hours? Again, without the backdrop of a pandemic, you're working. And some of our parents have jobs where they don't show up, they don't get paid.
Right.
And so if I don't get paid, then I can't put food on the table, and then I might have a case. And so I think it's just, we have to look at the ecosystem. It's not just parents not showing up, it's the other things going on too. But go ahead.
So, see, she just walks me right to the water.
Right.
She's brings me right to the water.
That's an educator.
Exactly. So this goes with my school participation, because she cut me off and she put me in place, but now I got to get out of my place correctly, with respect. So school participation. So this is part of my platform, with my education platform. School participation goes with parents going to school, and how we're going to do this is we have to work with the unions, right? Because we can't have a parent that works in West Roxbury, right? Lives in East Boston, and the kid goes to school in Charlestown, and she got to run cross city in the middle of, that's crazy.
Right.
We have to work with the bus union, okay? Because that's what a lot of our school budget is going to, is the bus union. I think it's like $25 million a year goes to our buses, okay? So we have to have better community schools where a kid can go that lives in Dorchester, lives in Highland, on Highland Street. He can go up to the Dearborn to go to school. He doesn't have to go all the way, to JP to go to school.
Right.
But see, a lot of parents do that also because these schools have certain things.
Right.
They offer certain curriculums, right? So what we need to do is we need to set up each borough, right, where each school has that. A school in Dorchester has this. A school in Roxbury has that. A school in Southie has that. So everybody's not just piling in the bus, load blocking up traffic, and everybody got a waiting list to get into one school. It shouldn't have to be like that, because everybody goes to Eastie to play basketball or Charlestown to play basketball.
That is true. I definitely agree with you on that. And let me say, because like working in the schools, right? What ends up happening is like the schools they send out like a notice, like maybe like a week, not even a week, maybe like a month before. You know what I mean? A month before that. So parents have enough time. All right, so we have a caller. Caller, how we doing?
Great, you?
Great. How you doing?
I'm good. God bless everyone. I'm listening. My name is Barry Lawton. I'm listening to the show and enjoying it very much. I have to say it's kind of dear to my heart. I taught in the Boston public schools for over 25 years. I taught at the Burke, at Dorchester High, at Madison Park, at East Boston High, the Edwards Middle School, and the Amata Barn.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had an opportunity to teach in many different neighborhoods. And one of the things that I found with the MCAS and testing is good.
Mm-hmm.
Because it gives you a snapshot of where the student is at that particular time.
Right.
And I think that that's good for a tool to teach better.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that compliments of State Representative Marie St. Fleur, the Boston Chamber of Commerce, and the Republican administration of Wells, they changed it into a graduation requirement.
Right.
Which meant that they kind of duped the family and the children and said, you're going to matriculate you through this system for 13 years. We're going to have standards for each district. And all of a sudden, because I believe it was James Swift at the time, I think Governor Cellucci went on to be the ambassador of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
She came over temporarily, and as a result, she was running for governor the next term. And at that time, there was a large Republican anti-diversity movement, anti-multicultural movement.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, we're going to move from teaching world history as a requirement to U.S. history.
Right.
Right? Which basically cuts out most of the world and teaches a U.S.-centric point of view. But bottom line, to get back to the MCAS, they put in that requirement for graduation. Now,
Wow.
public schools, private schools, Catholic schools don't have that requirement.
Mm.
They don't have it. So our kids have it. And as a result, you get a certificate of completion instead of a diploma. And, many kids have dropped out as a result. If you drive around our neighborhood, you've seen over the past 15 years, those signs, get your GED in 6 months and all that. That would not be necessary if this thing was not a graduation requirement. It is inequitable. Our black leaders have been told this year after year after year. They continue to ignore it, and it stigmatizes our people.
Absolutely.
So I think I tried to file legislation through Nick Collins. I don't know what eventually happened to it, but it's an unfair system. It's a racist system, and it needs to be fixed right away. And we cannot be asking white people to fix it. Our leaders, our people, have to fix it.
Exactly, and this is why we have Donnie Palmer and we have Dr. Brooks in the building today. They running for office. Okay, so you guys got to make sure you go out and you vote. Okay, you vote for these folks, because not only they're from the community, but they was raised in Boston. They know what it's like to attend school. All the stuff that these young folks have to go through. You know what I mean? So you definitely have to go out and vote.
Absolutely. We are backward because they've got us programmed to vote for the name that we're most familiar with.
Right.
Right? Oh, we've heard that name before. We don't know what they did, so we'll go and we'll vote for Flowery, we'll vote for somebody because we've seen their name up there.
Absolutely.
I mean, if that was the premise that you would work on, you could put Mickey Mouse on the ballot and he would win.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, we need to bring common sense back in here, but we need to hold each other accountable because we are failing each other.
Yeah.
We are failing each other. It should be unpopular not to vote.
For real.
Yes.
You should be in the doghouse for a year because you missed the election. People should abuse their friends, their family, and say, you should shut up. I don't want to hear you complaining about anything.
Right.
All right? You either practice the democracy we preach or shut up.
Absolutely, I agree.
As Adam Powell said. That's what he said. That's what he said.
Absolutely.
The other thing on the MCAS history, and I think the young lady alluded to it, they just have it for math, for science, and English, right? But I believe the young lady was talking about you need a well-rounded person. You need somebody who knows history. You need somebody who knows social sciences, who knows something about psychology to help them analyze and judge people by their character and know what the pitfalls are. This is like a partial education for the purposes of industry, for the purposes of that 1%. They want us trained. They don't want us thinking. They want us trained.
I agree.
And, so we need a well-rounded education, and I think it's starting to happen. The younger generation, listening to you people, you sound like I did 40 years ago, and I'm so appreciative of that. I have two children who are 20, and, I don't want to let them have a Boston and a Massachusetts the way I found it.
Absolutely.
Gotta be
Absolutely.
better.
Yeah.
Thank you so
I
much
love
for
that.
calling in.
You're quite welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
You're quite welcome. You take care. Have a blessed Sunday.
You as well, brother. You as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going into our "What in the Wakanda was you thinking?" Okay, what in the Wakanda was you thinking moment. Now, if you haven't been listening in the news, it says that Portia Williams has raised some eyebrows with the news that she is now engaged to a man. Real Housewife of Atlanta viewers met this season as the husband of one of her friends. Williams posted about her relationship with businessman Simon Gabudia on her verified Instagram account on Monday. All right. Now, what in the Wakanda are you thinking, brother Simon? Okay, I blame you, black man. Okay, what are you doing dating one of this girl's friends? That's not a good look for you. You a billionaire. A billionaire. You got the whole world to go and find your queen. Why you gotta mess with your girl? Your friends, your girlfriend's friend. It's not a good look for you, bro. That is not a good look. That is simping at its finest right there. Simping at its finest. You got the whole world. You got money on your back, and you're gonna mess with your girl's friend. Please. You need to go ahead and go get something that's way out there, okay, and come back, fry her back out, and then show your girl like what she's missing out. That's how a real player do it. And this is the "What in the Wakanda was you thinking" moment. All right. How much time we got left, Pastor Wall? We got 3 minutes. That was okay. So we have a couple more minutes left, right? And I wanted to ask this because the gentleman, he raised this. We talked about vocational schools, right? But what about exam schools? All right. What about exam school? How about exam school? Currently, there's the John D. O'Brien, the Boston Latin School, and there's Latin Academy, right? As exam school. Do you guys think there should be more exam schools because there's some bright minds in this city. You know what I mean? To challenge them. Brandi, and then I'm going to ask you first.
We had this conversation outside. I think one of the things they did this year, because of COVID, was they got rid of exams, and instead they said they were going to look at grade point average and zip code, and give priority to low income zip codes, because they were saying is that the reason why people fight to get in exam schools is because they have 90% college acceptance rate. 90%. All parents want that. All parents want access to that, right? And so one of the kind of cruxes with exam schools is, okay, are they making sure that the process is equitable? Does the school reflect the community? And does the community have the same access in terms of getting into these schools? And so bottom line for me is I support the schools, and I support there being more access to the schools. Now, with respect to, are we going to build more schools and that type of thing, that's a longer, drawn-out process, as you know, which would include many communities and things like that. But I definitely support there being more access for black and brown kids to go to exam schools and get into exam schools and get the opportunity and the access.
D, I'm gonna ask because we're running out of time, right? You know, you're a big advocate for today's youth, right? What do you think they need to get on the right path for success? What do you think these kids need would be to get on the right path for success?
Oh my goodness! You asked me that. It's so much I can say. First of all, we need to give them guidance.
Right. Yeah.
You know? And second of all, how we do that is through the school system.
Right.
Okay? We have to clean up the school system. You know, we have to give them more opportunity, more choices to do things. Like she said, more access to exam schools. Okay, more access to vocational trades.
Yep.
More access to even stuff like NASA programs, summer camps,
Right.
summer schools, red shirt program.
Right.
We don't have the red shirt.
There's no more red shirts. That is true. I remember the red shirts coming up.
Right. You know, we got to give them access on what it's like to work all day picking up trash to make a little $10 an hour. You see
Right.
that $500,
Getting poison ivy.
and then you get that tax. You know, you got these kids have to feel like, oh my God, tax rate me early.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
they need to feel that. We don't teach them that. We
Right.
stop that.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree with that.
So we have 1 minute left. So
Yeah.
any finishing thoughts about?
I
why
mean, just to
people should-
agree with that
yeah.
is that while we put the focus on the schools, we also need to work for the communities too, and make sure that the opportunities exist within the communities. Make sure you have access to food, access to good transportation, and it's safe where you walk when you get off the bus. So while we do focus on a school, we need to focus on a community and also work with the parents,
Yeah.
because it's not just the schools. We don't want schools to just be babysitters
Right,
for kids.
absolutely.
It has to be reinforced at home as
Right.
well.
All right. Yo, this what part of the so how can people go out and vote? How can people support Donnie Palmer, and how can people go out and support yourself as well too?
So, 268 Broadway is my headquarters at Croke Park.
Yep.
And you?
Yeah, you can email me